Hey everyone, this is Mike Biggs coming to you with our first Finding Your 100% podcast. I'm excited about starting this series. After much prayer, thought, and preparation, I thought this is a great platform to use to help people go to further training and instruction in the principles that I bring up in Finding Your 100%. We have all gifts, talents, and abilities. We all have our own way of perceiving truth and understanding and seeking our life goals and passions. In Finding Your 100% podcast, we're going to try to examine and bring greater clarity and focus into what is our style of living, what is our style of problem solving, what is our style of dealing with setbacks and things that happen in life that causes confusion. Um, the more we isolate the process, the more we become aware of the process, and in becoming aware of the process, we stay in charge of the outcomes and not become a leaf blown in the wind. I've often looked at life, sometimes in my growing up, as I'm a victim of circumstances. And in some instances, that may have been true. But upon further examination, I found out no, I was not a victim. I did not apply talents, gifts, and options I had in life that would have allowed me to have different outcomes. I was not conscious of those other outcomes because I could not see them. In Finding Your 100%, you will be exposed to several platforms of mind setting, how to get control of your thoughts and turn thoughts into actions and habits that are productive in your life. One of those platforms that I will introduce you to that you will have an opportunity to be in training if you choose to is called Achieving a Well-Balanced Being. That particular platform was developed by the Pacific Institute out of Seattle, Washington. The founders were Lou Tice and his wife, Diana Tice. They were an outstanding and dynamic couple that elevated their teachings of mind setting to the stage that they advised Colin Powell, Mandela, Tony Blair in England. They have worked on projects around the world and were personal mentors to many Fortune 500 companies. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to their platform, excellence training back in the day through Ken Hill, who is my cousin that played for the Oilers and the Rams, and that came to the Institute in the 90s and introduced me to that training program that I used in my first charter school in Georgia. And it transformed the way we did instruction and how we motivated our students. But Achieving a Well-Balanced Being is a outtake of the original curriculum that is web-based and in-person facilitated if needed. But it gives that flexibility that people can come together from all over the world, literally, and go through this training as a group and really have time to review the materials, observe how it's changing and impacting their lives, and it can be delivered over multiple types of formats: 1 hour session, half an hour sessions, once a week, twice a week. But I love the flexibility in Achieving Well-Balanced Being curriculum, and I am a certified trainer, and you will get more information through the podcast on how to sign up for those classes. Typically, we look for a minimum of 10 people, your school, your staff, your church, your company, and we can decide on how much of that will be in person or how much of that will be online and web-based. Another process you'll be introduced to is the colors concept. Colors is a way to determine if you're left brain or right brain, and that was started by Insight Foundation in Utah. Nathan Bryce is one of the founders of this platform, and it takes Myers-Briggs, and most of y'all have heard of the Myers-Briggs, ABFEQRFD. I could never remember that, but under Insight Foundation, they broke those processes up into 4 realms of 4 colors. 2 on the right side of the brain, 2 on the left. Blue and orange are right brain worldviews and comfort zones, and gold and green are left brain. So in the training, you will see what is your natural comfort zone. How do you naturally perceive the world? But throughout the training, we teach you how to move from your comfort zone and respect the other views that people have about how they see life. And we even explore that. The most glaring example of that is the Gospels in the New Testament. Blue is John, the beloved. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. He without sin cast the first stone. John's point of view in the gospel is that Jesus was the Messiah because he had great love and compassion for the world. Matthew, on the other hand, would know Jesus was the Messiah because he fulfilled the traditions that was demanded of him. Matthew starts out with begot, 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 begot. So he bases his argument that Jesus fulfilled the traditions that a Jewish Messiah would have to fulfill to proclaim himself Messiah. And then you have Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark is orange. John is right brain, and Mark is right brain. Mark is orange. Orange people are action oriented. Mark says, no, he's the Messiah because if you drink something that's poison, he can heal you. Man, if you get by a snake, man, Jesus is bad, he'll cure you. Everything was about what Jesus did. John was about everything that Jesus showed and felt. Matthew was about what did he fulfill that was written? How did he keep the law? And then we have Luke the physician, who's left brain, along with Brother Matthew. And he says to the Theophilus, no, he was Messiah because I can logically come to that conclusion based on all the information that I've examined about him. And he writes in his gospel, O Theophilus, I write this unto you that you may have an understanding of that which I have seen, examined, and came to my conclusion. So left brain people are basically people who look at organization and systems. Right brain people, basically people who look at action and emotions. And that's how we go through life with these different comfort zones that we're in. But to mature and get to your 100% is learning how to do these other colors, to be left brain when you need to be, to be right brain when you need to be, but how to adjust to situations when your comfort zone is being challenged and you need to move out of it. Those are the two primary platforms that I'll be using along with the principles that I teach in my book. And one of the principles that I teach is that finding your 100% is not a destination. It is a process. It is a process like a ship that will never dock. You go from stage to stage. When I was younger, my 100% was to get my driver's license, graduate from high school, go to college and go in the military, get a wife, have children. All those things evolved at different stages. I'm a grandfather now. Finding my 100% right now is making sure I don't have a stroke or a heart attack, lose my teeth, and end up wearing diapers. It's all relative to whatever stage you're at. So your goals change and evolve over your lifespan. The key to it is to recognize that and to be in control of that and not be driven like a leaf in the wind. How do we do that? We have to be and come to an understanding that there will always be unforeseen circumstances and situations that you have no control over at any stage of your life. Things will happen that you have no control over. That's called life. There's no degree, there's no certification, there's no amount of money that you will ever accumulate. There's no religious affiliation you could ever have that's going to guarantee you that you will never be challenged or disappointed in ways that you could not even imagine or dream of. I was speaking to a lady the other day at one of the libraries where I go and work with a student, and she shared with me the tragedy of losing her son when he was 17 that was accidentally electrocuted. And I lost my son when he was 42 years old and 7 months. And I have a granddaughter to remind me of his life. She never got that opportunity. She didn't get an opportunity to watch him graduate. She did not get an opportunity to see him grow, develop a family, move into manhood. And those kind of situations, and that's drastic, but they come at times in our life that we will never expect it. The key is to be resilient and to know how to overcome these unforeseen circumstances and situations that I write about in the book. To be prepared for that, to not be surprised that it happened to you. You can be surprised at when it happened, you can be surprised at what had happened, but never be surprised that it happened to you, because none of us will escape this life without unforeseen circumstances and situations that will be crippling at times. But it's how we prepare to deal with it, how we prepare to navigate it. Now, these principles are not bound to any one type of population. What is true for your children in their formative years, adolescence, adulthood, in the business life, in academia, no matter where you work or where you operate in life, if you're in the creative sphere, if you're in that right brain side, you're artistic, or if you're in the technology side and you're very inventive, these principles work and they operate the same way, because we cannot control those people that we will come into contact with that have a different view of life than we do. Some things I talk about in the book are evident in our society that are hindrances and barriers to success. I write about and I speak very clearly that I don't look at barriers. I am a barrier buster. I expect there to be barriers, but the juice is worth the squeeze, as we say in Georgia. You have to be prepared not to be hindered by the rock in the road. You have to see past the rock and aim directly at where you're trying to go and not be deterred, because people will come, circumstances will come. In my book, I call these people in spite of people. Two types of people we discuss in the book. You're because of people. You're moving forward in your goals and objectives in life because these people are in your life and they support you. And then on the flip side of the because of people, they're in spite of people. In spite of them being in your life, you move forward in your goals and objectives in life. It takes light and night, day and night. It takes rain and sunshine. Life will not come to you. You cannot control how life will come to you. You can prepare as much as you want to for a certain level of stability in life, but COVID proved to us that there's nothing guaranteed. No one's wealth could protect them from the impact that COVID had on them in the entire world. Poor died, rich died, young died, old died. People were put out of jobs. Companies folded up. We never saw that coming. And I was in public health for over 14 years of my life in the military. And we prepared for that and we thought about it. But I never believed I would live through a pandemic that would affect the world, let alone my personal life, the way COVID-19 did. So, having said that, finding your 100% is helping you not to be in focus, but process focus. So many of us want to get to the hallelujah, praise God, stand on the mountaintop, and we do not know how to enjoy the climb from the valley to the mountaintop. In the military, it's called how to embrace the suck. There's no way to become an outstanding military person, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine, well, maybe Air Force, maybe Navy, and definitely Space Force maybe. I digress. But for the most of the military life, Marines and Army at the top, Marines underneath. You're not going to get to the top of your military service without enduring the pains of push-ups and miles and road marches and being up all night long and pulling watch and doing all the things it takes to make you qualified to shoot, move, and communicate, as we say in the military. I digress on the Air Force, Space Force, and the Navy, but you all understand. And of course, we love the Marines. They can catch lead better than anybody else. We like to send them ahead of us in the Army to absorb some of the lead, poison it in the air. Love you guys. Anyway, I digress. Back to finding your 100%. It is about understanding that life is going to throw, I cannot say this enough, and yet whether I'm talking to a teenager, a CEO, a CFO, a commander in the military, a sergeant major. It does not matter the station in life. We are so offended when bad things happen to us, when disappointment comes. We just feel like, why me? Why not you? Because you are a part of the human race, and this is germane to being human. Disappointment. But those who are victorious understand the need to not stay focused on the setback, but what is your plan to get back on course with your life when these things happen? And those are the people who persevere and succeed in life. These different platforms that I'm going to make available to you will help you to understand how to become conscious and plugged in to tools that will help you stay focused, whether you're a Christian believer or not a Christian believer. All of us on this planet, and all of us want the best in our life. And I want the best for every person that I come into contact with. So finding your 100% is a tool that I feel that you'll definitely benefit from, that will help you have a greater awareness and insight into your approach to life. Where's that approach helping you to excel? Where's that approach holding you back? How does it affect your personal relationships, your relationship with your children, your grandchildren? All these concepts I feel will empower your life. It is not a silver bullet. It is not an end-all be-all, but it's definitely some tools that you would like to put in your toolbox that I guarantee you will make you more powerful in your outlook and outcomes in life. So from the cornfields of Indiana, Jay County, Portland, Indiana, from me to you, stay tuned and you will get more information about how to sign up for Achieving Well-Balanced Being workshops or doing your personality assessments through the Learning Foundation, Insight Learning Foundation. And I'm looking forward to also setting up workshops with you and finding your 100% that I have developed also that comes from my book. Please stay tuned. Mike Biggs saying, go get your 100%.